First, I got in Bob's pants. Now, I got his stick. Alright, so I figured in this video we'd take a look at what might be the most unusual stick or most talked about stick currently in the NHL. And it's not even that Bob's been using this, or that he hasn't been using the stick. I mean, it's pretty much been his stick for a while, but for whatever reason, I've just kind of seen like more people kind of talk about it and ask questions about it, because I don't know, like you can tell, like it looks like he uses a smaller than normal stick. And now that he plays for the Panthers and I live in South Florida, I have access to the team sales. They sell game used stuff or whatever. So I decided to actually buy his stick, kind of see what it was all about, give it a try. Yeah, so like the trend now in the NHL is to go with a smaller paddle. The reasoning behind that is a smaller paddle will help you out better when you're actually down in your butterfly, which, you know, the theory behind that is that in today's game, you're making saves in your butterfly. You're not standing up making the saves. So it doesn't really make as much sense to have the stick sized for when you're standing up and in your stance, as opposed to more something that would suit you better when you're actually down in the butterfly. So that's why a lot of guys are going with smaller paddles. That way, when they're down in the butterfly, they're closer to the ice. They don't need a longer paddle, and it reduces like creating a hole on your blocker arm. I'll kind of get into that a little more later in this video, and I'll actually like hold the stick with my blocker and kind of show you how that goes. But just to kind of go over like what Bob's stick is and exactly the measurements, what it's about. So if you see here, it's listed, CCM lists the paddle as a 22. That might sound really jarring to you, like it's like junior size stick, but it's a little misleading because of the way CCM measures. So as you can see, this has a very sloping shoulder on the paddle. So CCM really only measures up until the slope starts here. It doesn't measure up to the shaft, where it meets the shaft, and that's usually about where most other companies measure to. And since this has such a sloping shoulder, that's what's giving you that ridiculously small number. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a smaller paddle than most guys use, but it's not quite what a normal 22 would be. And just to kind of show you a difference, I have my regular Warrior stick that I use. I'm gonna line these up and show you what the difference is between a 26 in a Warrior and what they call a 22 in CCM is. So as you can see, it might not look like that much of a difference what you were thinking of a 22 to a 26 might be. And like I said, that's because of this sloping shoulder. So, I mean, you say 26 to 22 is about 4 inches, so you can kind of see where the 4 inches is. You know, you see where the shoulder stops being its normal width up to the shaft here, and then this is a 26, so it's roughly about 4 inches difference there. So that's where you're getting the 22 from. But that being said, you know, the thing with this style of a paddle and shoulder is it kind of gives you the option, because you really, if you really wanted to, you could still hold it up by here, right where it meets the shaft, like in a more traditional way, or you have the option of holding it anywhere along this slope, really. So Bob holds it, if you look at pictures or whatever, he holds it pretty much right where it gets to the regular width of the paddle. And so that also contributes to how small the paddle looks when you watch him play, when you see pictures of him, and it's just, that's why it looks so jarring to people, and people are like, man, what's with his stick, you know, whatever. So other than just the paddle though, and the shoulder, it's pretty much seems to just be an E-Flex 4 stick. He's got the soft flex. He's got what looks to be a heel curve on this. which normally I use a mid curve on my sticks, but it's not a huge deal to me because I'm not good at playing the puck no matter what kind of curve I have. So, but yeah, so now I want to just kind of show you what it looks like when you're holding this with a blocker on, and kind of, like I said, the theory behind why guys go to a smaller paddle and what Bob's doing with this. So, you know, normally when you're playing, your stick, you know, you don't hold it just straight up and down. It has a forward lean to it like that. So if I'm holding it higher up like normally would, right, the blocker is higher and a little further back from where the puck is. Now, you got to remember, you got to think of angles from the puck's point of view, which is down at the ice. It's not, you know, where your eyes are looking normally. So the lower your blocker is and the further out it is, the more you're cutting down that angle to the puck. So let's say, you know, a normal size paddle and normal where you would hold it would be somewhere up here on a stick. That's where your blocker is. So let's say the camera is the puck or whatever, roughly showing you this. It's not exact. It's up here. Now if I go down and forward, you see the blocker becomes bigger to the camera. From up here to lower and forward there. And so he holds it roughly around here, and as you can see, that's why it looks, I don't know how good this is coming on the camera, but that's why it looks like such a tiny paddle to him. Whereas if you really wanted to, I could hold it as high as like that if I was more traditionally holding it. So that's kind of the whole deal behind why he does that. You know, he's kind of taking it a little more to an extreme, more so than other guys are doing it. But so in even just in his normal stance, like I said, you know, he's cutting down that angle, and then once he's down in the butterfly, the shorter paddle is helping him with the blocker, sealing holes and whatnot. So I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, once you kind of explain it, it doesn't seem as weird anymore. So I haven't had a chance to try this out yet. I haven't played since I got this, but I definitely want to use it at least a few times, and we'll see. You know, I've been wanting to experiment with a smaller paddle because I'm always open to when new trends come up. I'm always open to trying it, and you know, sometimes it works and I stay with it. Sometimes it doesn't, and I just don't use it. But I've been using. So actually, I was using a 27 paddle for many years before. Then I went down to a 26, like, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago I went to a 26. So I've been using a 26 for a while now. But, you know, with this trend of the smaller paddles, I have been wanting to try, you know, something smaller. This is a little bit extreme of a jump from a 26 to 24, but like I said, the good thing about this is I don't necessarily have to go down to where it would be a 22. You know, I can kind of move my hand around a little bit and see where, you know, what works the best for me, which is one reason why I like this option as opposed to just getting the regular shoulder and getting like a 24 or something, where you're kind of limited where you can hold it and it's just going to be a 24. Because, you know, I don't want, you know, these sticks are expensive, and when you're trying to experiment, it's like if you spend even $200 on a stick and you don't like it from the get-go, that's kind of a lot of money down the drain, and then you got to try to resell it if possible, whatever. So I thought this was kind of a good option to try this out. That I've been curious about getting a close-up look at his stick and trying something smaller. So I'll make another video after I use this a bunch of times just to kind of tell you if I feel like it's something good for my game, or if I would recommend trying something like this and getting more into it. But just this video was just to kind of take a look at his stick and the reasoning behind what he uses. So yeah, that's about it, and I'll see you in the next video.